Here we have a Selmer. It says right on there, Selmer. It says HS XS, which is double star, and then Clarion glass mouthpiece, which they call crystal. It has a tip chip, which is not unusual. Sometimes they're worse. This one actually doesn't go through the end of the tip. Well, it just barely goes to the edge of the tip rail, nothing on the top. It's just a chip from here on the inside. And I've repaired these with the corners missing and some side rail problems. Probably not going to need to do any facing work on this. You know, the right rail is shorter than the left rail, but we're not going to do any corrections. The facing's pretty nice. I mean, it's got a couple little crooked spots, but you know, if I measured it again, I may even get different readings. So I'm planning to fill this with a clear acrylic, okay? And it may have a cloudy appearance, but it'll be the closest thing I have to glass. Now, I'll show you the analysis of the facing curve, even though we're not doing any facing. Okay, I put the measurements into my combo spreadsheet, which I have free for use. So I put the readings in, and then we do a fit of a power curve as well as an elliptical curve. And in this case, the power curve has the lower error function after we converge everything. So that is the better curve. A lot of time they're both about the same, but so this is a power with an exponent of about 2.6. It's a 48 inside the tip rail, or 1.22 millimeters, and it's 31 and a half, close to 32 long. And like I said, it got a couple crooked spots here, but just for your information. I'm set up now inside my exhaust hood. I'm using a clear acrylic, no name, crystal powder. I got a set years ago. I did probably off eBay, and clear. And it came with some monomer, but it's better if you get a brand name monomer, and I use this Sassy is good stuff, and I put that in a squeeze bottle flip top. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to get away without even using a brush. Get a rag here. So I'm going to put a drop on the stick. I can't. This bottle's almost empty. I need to refill it. Oh, there he goes. It's 3 drops. Try to touch it right where that is. Some is running inside, but we'll get that out. In fact, I think I'll tilt this down a little more. Then I have a little spoon. I'm going to go inside here and sprinkle over the repair. Then I will repeat the drop. Touch it again. More ran inside. More sprinkle. Actually going to tilt that down. Okay. See if we can get it to run. Some did run down. And that might be enough. Just for insurance, put a little more. Because a lot of times I have to go back and do it again if I don't put enough. Okay. We'll just let that set probably overnight, just to be sure. It might be okay with it a few hours, but I'm in no rush. I'm trying to dry out some of the excess from inside the chamber. Okay, here we are the next day. This turned out pretty good so far. I was kind of putting enough acrylic on here that I thought it was going to create a lump and have to sand it down, but actually after it set and with some shrinkage or whatever, it looks like it's almost flush. And if anything, it's just an overfill. The first thing I'm going to try, and I don't know if this is going to work, is to use some polish to see if I can clean up the glass. So let me just get a rag here. The polish has a mild abrasive in it. I'm just going to get it's the mildest I pretty much use. Maybe it's enough to shine up the glass around the repair without scuffing it. Well, that was too much. So I use a stick to kind of, maybe my finger to kind of push this around. It's a tight area to be working on. Let's see what this does. Try to wipe it out. Looks like it did clean off a lot and actually highlights kind of around the repair where it didn't clean. So at least so now I can feel kind of the edges of where the repair is deposited. It's a little more than the original void of the chip was. So I am going to have to do some shaping, but not much. And actually, the shaping is really just at the back edge that is needed. Up near the tip rail, it's pretty good. And we might get away with just lightly sanding the tip rail with a sandpaper stick. This is 500 grit. Two different papers, but both are 500 or so. So I'm just kind of trying to feel, the tip rail only had a small piece missing. So actually I can even try polishing the tip rail also, which I didn't really do much before. Yeah, see, my thumb can kind of start scraping off the overfill, but I don't want to go too far. There, cleans it up to there. The original glass has a couple had a little tiny chip there that probably doesn't affect playing. Okay, this is good. I think that little piece there, it's about 1/8 of an inch wide, needs to stay as a repair. But everything else around it is cleaned up. Then on this inside, I don't know if there's going to be, how much I'm going to have to work on that. Probably just a little bit of sandpaper wrapped around a stick. Let's try this. This is 600 grit. And you can wrap this around a file or a glue stick like this. Yeah, I see that the material from here out is on the glass, and that's not part of the void. I'm starting to see the original circle of where the fill is, because the overfill has gotten so thin. So I just peeled some of that away. There's another little bit right there. I'm like removing a skin. What's left is pretty much the fill. Which I'm probably just going to try to clean up very lightly. Start with a 600. Going to move on to some steel wool. I'm going to try a curved blade. There seems to be a little bit of a cloudy piece over here that I'm wondering if that's just a scuff on the glass. Might be. It's not material, repair material. It's not the acrylic, I don't think. But I'll see if I can clean that up a little. I'm going to try a file, since it has a little bit of a grip to it, to push this. Okay. It's pretty much it, I'll see if I can get any buff it anymore, but the owner was expecting some kind of opaque repair, but I've got it clear in there, and you can still see it, but at least it's functional, and the facing's all intact. I just repaired that tip rail enough to where it won't be an issue playing. The baffle is preserved, so it's a pretty good success in my book. Let's see, a little bit more cloudy. There may be, I'll wash this in ultrasonic, make sure I get it as clean as I can, and no other, monomer or whatever residue. Being glass, you can inspect it for cleanliness on the outside. Okay, I did notice a bump. You know, after I got my magnifying glass out here and got in here and kind of looked real close inside the tip rail. And there is a slight bump inside the tip rail here that I'm trying to take down. So it's very tedious, and so I'm going to scrape that a little bit, look under magnification some more, and then do some light sanding and steel wool on it again to try to get all that flush. But it is, you know, the kind of like the outside edge is pretty good. A slight bump right there. So I've got this tiny file, don't know where I got it, a riffler, a few other ones that I brought out. You know, you can make a little progress at a time and even switch the sandpaper. Again, I'm trying not to scuff any more glass. Okay, I spent some additional time off camera adjusting that, and you know, I had to get this little file out and really go after that bump there, and then repeat all the other steps with sandpaper and steel wool. But I'm really happy with it is now, and then, you know, sanding stick all the way out to the tip rail. Let me show you how I was actually inspecting it. I have a fluorescent light up here. Okay, let's see if I can get myself in the picture. And I have this, you know, magnifying. It's about 10x 8 or 10, and then I'd get in here and I would really look at that tip rail and roll it back and forth. You can see the geometry a lot easier. So that's where I was picking it up and making my adjustments. So, and you know, like I said, finishing result is pretty good. So, like I said, this, you know, the more that you have the glass preserved on your rails, the better it is. But I have replaced larger chips than this before. So, you know, if you're thinking of throwing something away, the advantage is that you get to preserve the facing that you're used to, because if you just go buy a new one, it may not have the same curve on it. So I can, you know, or I could measure the one you like and transfer it over to a new one if enough of the facing is there to measure. Here you go, Patricia. I have your repair done. You know, you can see where the edges of the repair start and the original glass are, but I don't know if the camera's going to autofocus there. Let me see if I can tap on it. All right. But I'm pretty happy with it. I looked at it under a lot of magnification, and I think I got the repair, the detail just right, coming up towards the tip rail. So, like I said, I quoted you $50 plus $5. Call it $50 even, and send that to me, and I can get this out on Monday.